Täysi kuu, sä ihme suurin olet öisen taivahan. Täysi kuu, kun avaruuden puet loiston hopean. Saat nähdä vain sä rakkauden, sen hetket riemukkaat. Mut kiertä kylmä tietäsi niin yksin.
Hello everybody, welcome to Around the World in 80 Tangos. Today we have our first special episode, and we have the honor of talking with Maria and Pasi from Tampere, with our friends from Finland about Finnish tango. Hello Maria and Pasi, hello to Finland, hello to Tampere.
Hello, here we are. Hello,
Tampere,
hello,
Finland
Bedlin.
calling.
So, Raimund, do you want to give the first question?
Yes, I give the first question. It's about, of course, about history. What is the official origin of Finnish tango? When did it start and how did it come?
Well, tango came to Finland in 1913. There are several stories what happened first, but it seems that it was one dancer or a dancer couple who came to Finland to have a performance. It was either one Finnish man with a partner from somewhere else, or one Finnish man dancing alone the tango.
Okay.
But then it was such a big hit, and so then this couple continued dancing and performing in Helsinki. So then, I mean, that's the start, yes.
That was in 1913, and already during the same year, the first Finnish tango was composed.
So this was before the independence. This was still while Finland was part of Russia.
Yes.
Yes, Helsinki was not a very big city, but very international city at the time.
The composer of the first Finnish tango and the dancer who came from Argentina, however, are they known each other?
Probably not. The people who acquainted tango in their trips in Denmark, in Germany, so the music came from Paris through Germany and Denmark. It is not really well known how it was played here at that time, because there's no recordings.
Yes, I mean, in that time, I mean, tango was spread from Paris to all over Europe.
Yeah.
So it must have been about the same, probably the same style, like we know the really old recordings of Argentine tango. So like simple and rhythmical and a little bit heavy rhythm if we compare it to the modern tangos. So the first Finnish tango was composed in 1913 or 1914, and the composer was Emil Kauppi, and the tango was called The Secret Testament. And the tango was dedicated to a dancer and dance teacher called Hilma Liiman. So we know already one of the first dancers and dance teachers in 1914 who was teaching tango in Finland. She was a woman, Hilma Liiman.
And what happened after the Russian Revolution, after Finland became independent? What happened then with Finnish tango?
Well, the tango was not anything very special in the 20s and 30s. It existed. It didn't have a very special place in the hearts of Finnish people, probably. It was only after the Second World War that it really started gaining popularity.
I mean, it was popular in the 20s, like in all European countries, everywhere. But it did not yet have the specific Finnish character. As a dance, it got the special Finnish character in the 30s, when the tango dance was really popular, but the dancers thought that it's very difficult. And then one dance teacher, also a female dance teacher in Helsinki, decided that, hey, let's dance the tango music with the steps of foxtrot.
Oh.
So that was the start of Finnish tango as a dance, different dance from the Argentine tango or the like general tango, whatever it was in 20s and 30s. In 1930s, the steps changed into the steps of foxtrot, and that is how it is still danced, the Finnish tango. So with the steps of foxtrot, but with the style of Argentine tango, so like steady movement with like dramatic pauses and quick staccato movements also.
It has more of air of Argentine tango for me than the air of competition tango.
No,
ballroom.
You mean European tango?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or American tango.
Yeah, that's a different dance again. I think already in the 30s, but probably like after the Second World War, the music changed also with musicians from Germany. The German musicians brought to Finland the more marching rhythm, like dun 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 dun. So after that, the Finnish tango was more, the rhythm was more like a marching rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the fault of the Germans.
I'm so sorry. We feel really guilty now.
We apologize.
No, we cherish this.
It was also, the music became easier to play. So also musicians and the dance band that had drums and smaller band with guitars and bass was easier to play. So
Sure.
like in the 20s and 30s, there were a lot of jazz musicians and jazz bands who were actually quite good musicians. So they played really nice tangos with nice versions and really well played. But then in the 40s, 50s, 60s style with this German type of music, so that was much easier to play, also for musicians who were not so professional.
I think also because these people had to play a lot of different music.
Yes.
Yes,
They were not
exactly.
specialized. Yeah. And at least this little drum roll is the remain of the arrastre. So there's
Yes,
a little remain.
right.
Yeah, yes. The Finnish tango had like, it is part of the family of the social dancing. So we never had like a milongas
Where you
Finland.
only danced tango in a social dance evening. It's more like a bailongo, where you dance like 20 different dance rhythms and styles, like the foxtrot and Finnish folk dances, Latin rhythms.
Let's talk about a bit tango lyrics, Finnish tango lyrics. This seems to be even more dramatic than Argentine tango. I mean, can't be, we would say, but I guess it's more suffering about whatever.
I can't believe.
What about they are suffering?
Typically, the Finnish lyrics, the people suffer, of course, the men suffer, of course, but they suffer silently in the nature. And you don't really say like things too directly. So they use a lot of metaphors. And the metaphors, of course, since we are in Finland, the metaphors are from the nature, the flowers, the seasons, the forest and lakes and all these things, that it's used a lot. So you don't necessarily talk so much about the La Última Copa or something that, you know, it is expressed more through the metaphors.
And the main feeling in Finnish tango is melancholy, not so much sadness or drama, but melancholy. And like Pasi said, the main metaphors are nature. I think in Argentine tango, often there's like a lot of sadness and drama about things that did happen. But in Finnish tango, it's more like, oh, I'm so sad because of something that did not happen and will never, ever happen. And that's why I'm so sad.
So the whole thing is less an urban thingy. Like Argentine tango is the music of Buenos Aires. It's urban. You
Right.
mentioned the countryside and flowers and symbols and metaphors from nature.
Yeah, it is. The social dancing generally was the culture of the countryside. Of course, dancing in the cities, but since we didn't really have so many cities in the country in the 40s and 50s, so it is predominantly still culture that happens in the countryside. And most of the dance venues are still today deep in the countryside that you need to drive 1 hour or so by car.
Yeah, the ideal dance place is in the nature near a beautiful lake, and in the light summer evenings you dance there and listen to this melancholic Finnish tango and feel the nostalgia inside you.
And the mosquitoes.
And the
Yes.
mosquitoes, yes.
The dancing in the 50s and 60s were so popular that I once counted there was one dance venue where they were dancing at least once a week, that there was approximately one dance venue per 800 people. So there were thousands of dance venues in Finland.
Wow.
Everywhere.
That's impressive.
So there were thousands of dance venues in Finland, even though there was only 4 million people.
So, and then the Argentine tango was already there before the Finnish tango started. We can say this more or less, I mean, few years different maybe. And then both were developing parallel to each other, or was there time also like in Germany and Europe and like in Argentinian where people didn't dance anymore tango, and in 1984 tango woke up again?
In the beginning, in 1913, tango was just tango, and it was just tango or Argentine tango until the 30s, when it was really like changed into Finnish tango as a dance. I think the music has been quite parallel, like the music has been European tango, Argentine tango. We have a lot of versions of Argentine tangos and also original Finnish tango. So the music has been maybe more varied, but I think from the 30s, the dance style was mainly Finnish tango, well, until the modern times. But in the 70s, couple dancing was not so popular anymore. So the same history like in Argentina and other European countries when the disco dancing came. But again, from the 80s, couple dancing and tango gained popularity. The development was, in Finland, it was first with the Finnish tango, like the biggest Finnish tango festival, Seinäjoen Tangomarkkinat. They started in the beginning of 80s. So like at the same time as Tango Argentino, the show became a huge hit. So here in Finland, we started with the big Finnish tango festival. I mean, obviously it was not so big in the beginning, but then it gained popularity again. Oh, and then Argentine tango came to Finland with the tango shows in the late 80s. And then like same story as in other big European cities. So then we had this separate Argentine tango community and Argentine tango dancers. Also the Finnish social dancing and Finnish tango gaining more popularity.
Maybe a last question goes a bit back to the 60s. So I've been reading that there was for a while in the 60s a strong competition between Finnish tango music, Finnish popular music, and music from foreign countries like the Beatles. So I heard about sort of cultural conflict about that. Can you say something about that?
Yes, in the 60s, in some areas in the countryside, tango was so popular that you were actually not allowed to play anything else than tangos. In the extreme cases, when the band didn't want to play more tangos, so they were thrown in the river. So,
We like.
but yeah, yeah.
That is in the area where I am from.
This is why you are so strong, Maria.
And that story apparently is true. So anyway, so that was very strong. So in the 60s, during the years when in the countryside the tango was super popular and the dancing, so in those years also the Beatles, the rock and roll gained popularity, but that was more in the cities. There were people that were big fans of one or another, and they were in some venues there were rock and roll bands playing, and one night and another night there was a dance band. So these people got mixed sometimes, but honestly most of the people they actually did appreciate both music. It was just pop music for everybody. Of course there were people for whom the new music was everything.
I think in Finland we did not have such a big difference. I mean, of course, young people obviously like the new young music and maybe never learned the couple dancing thing. But I think in Finland, like musically, the styles have been quite mixed. Like the Finnish tangos, like especially in the 50s and 60s, they took a lot of influence from Italian music. So the style was quite like popular. It was almost like pop music. And then when you take some pop music and you play it in a little bit more danceable way, like that you can do couple dancing to it. So then the genres are not so different.
So for instance, in a lot of dance places, they played rock and roll because you can dance. You can dance to rock and roll. It's a couple dance. But you don't really dance Beatles. So rock and roll was sort of in the dance genre.
Yes.
Whereas the Beatles thing is not dance music.
Okay, this was our first special episode of Around the World in 80 Tangos. And today we had the honor of having a talk about Finnish tango with Maria and Pasi from Tampere, Finland, close friends of us. Thank you for traveling through our special episode, and we hope you enjoyed. We enjoyed the talk, and stay healthy.
Bye-bye. Thank you and greetings to Tampere.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Se kerro hälle täysi kuu.